हेलो बच्चों, आज हम पढ़ने जा रहे हैं क्लास 7th साइंस फर्स्ट चैप्टर न्यूट्रिशन इन प्लांट्स। पिछली क्लास में हमने पढ़ा था कि देयर आर डिफरेंट कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ फूड लाइक कार्बोहाइड्रेट, प्रोटीन्स, विटामिन्स, फैट्स, मिनरल्स। दीज कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ फूड आर कॉल्ड न्यूट्रिएंट्स। So what are these components? Carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, proteins and minerals. Plants, we know that plants prepare their food themselves, and all other organisms except some organisms, they depend on plants. So how plants prepare their food and how they obtain their food, today we are going to learn in this chapter nutrition in plants. Now first question arises, why organisms needs nutrients? What is the requirement of nutrients? So why nutrients are required by the organisms? So what are the functions of nutrients? Nutrients are required because number one, they provide energy. Energy to carry out different life processes. First point, to provide energy to carry out different life processes. Number two, to build their body. Organism need nutrients to build their body. Third one, to grow. And fourth one, to repair damaged body parts. So for these purposes, nutrients are required by the body. Now, what is nutrition? So nutrition, the mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization by body is called nutrition. Means intake of food by the organism and how the food is utilized by the body of the organism, that whole process is known as nutrition. There are two different modes of nutrition. First one is autotrophic. Auto means self and trophos means nourishment. Second one, heterotrophic. Hetero means other, trophos means nourishment. Means autotrophic mode of nutrition involves the organism which prepare their food themselves, and these heterotrophic mode of nutrition involves the organisms which depends on autotrophs. Now what is autotrophs? Autotrophs, the organisms which use autotrophic mode of nutrition, means organisms which prepare their food themselves. So they are only plants and algae. They prepare their food themselves. They use the autotrophic mode of nutrition. So they are called autotrophs. Now heterotrophs, the organism which use heterotrophic mode of nutrition, means which take food prepared by plants. So the organisms which take in food prepared by plants are called heterotrophs. It includes animals and all other organisms. Photosynthesis, we know that plants prepare their food themselves by the process of photosynthesis, and photosynthesis is carried out by green leaves or some other green parts also perform photosynthesis. So mainly leaves are known as the kitchen of the plant or food factories of the plants, because food is prepared by leaves of the plants. So how they prepare their food? प्लांट्स को हमने कभी किचन में खाना बनाते, जिस तरह से हम लोग क्या करते हैं, किचन में खाना बना के खाते हैं, कभी किसी प्लांट को खाते हुए देखा आपने? नो. How they prepare their food then? So plants prepare their food by the process of photosynthesis, which is carried out in leaves. Leaves contain a green pigment which is known as chlorophyll. This green pigment, in the presence of these green pigment, leaves prepare their food by the process of photosynthesis. What happens during photosynthesis? Plants absorb water from the soil through the roots. That water rises through stem and reaches to leaves. There are some pores on the surface of leaves. The pores present on the surface of leaves mainly they are present on the lower surface of the leaf. This is a structure of section of leaf. This is stomata. This is stomatal pore. There are so many stomatal pores and which are surrounded by guard cells. So stomatal pore is surrounded by two guard cells. This is a bigger portion of one stomata. This is stomatal opening and these are two guard cells. So stomata are present on the surface of leaves. They are present in more quantity in lower surface of the leaves. So photosynthesis, during photosynthesis through stomatal opening, carbon dioxide is taken by the plants and water absorbed from roots that reaches to leaves, and in the presence of chlorophyll, one green pigment is present. Chlorophyll is present in leaves, and with the help of chlorophyll, in the presence of sunlight, plants prepare their food. This process is called photosynthesis. What happens during photosynthesis? There are step by step. There are some processes which take place step by step during photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. These are three processes which take place during photosynthesis. First one, absorption of sunlight by plant or chlorophyll. Second, breakdown of water into hydrogen and oxygen. Water absorbed by the roots, that water reaches to leaves and it breaks down into hydrogen and oxygen. Then third one, carbon dioxide taken through leaves, that is converted into glucose, and that glucose is utilized by the plant as a food. Now photosynthesis can be represented by a equation like carbon dioxide plus water they react in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight. They prepare glucose plus oxygen. Oxygen is given out in the process of photosynthesis. So in the process of photosynthesis, plants take carbon dioxide and they give out oxygen along with food. They prepare their food and they also give out oxygen. Now plants prepare their food by the process of photosynthesis. That doesn't mean that they does not require any other nutrients. By the process of photosynthesis, plants only obtain carbohydrates. So how plants obtain other nutrients? So carbohydrates have only carbon and hydrogen. Yes. So there are some nutrients which plants also require, that like protein which contain nitrogen. So plants they cannot take nitrogen from the environment. हम जानते हैं कि एटमॉस्फेयर का मैक्सिमम पार्ट क्या नाइट्रोजन है, लेकिन उस नाइट्रोजन को प्लांट्स डायरेक्टली दे कैन नॉट टेक दैट नाइट्रोजन. सो दैट नाइट्रोजन इज टेकन बाय प्लांट्स. There are some bacteria which convert this nitrogen into nitrate. That can be dissolved in water and plants can take that nitrogen in dissolved form. Second, lightning. That lightning also convert atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates. And third one, farmers put fertilizers. We add fertilizers in the soil, जिसमें से प्लांट्स क्या करते हैं, नाइट्रोजन को अब्जॉर्ब करते हैं. तो प्लांट्स नाइट्रोजन तीन तरह से ऑब्टेन करते हैं. फर्स्ट वन, सम बैक्टीरिया आर प्रेजेंट व्हिच कन्वर्ट नाइट्रोजन इनटू नाइट्रेट्स, एंड सेकंड लाइटनिंग, एंड थर्ड वन बाय एडिंग फर्टिलाइजर्स इनटू द soil. Now there are some other mode of nutrition in plants like heterotrophic mode of nutrition, which includes parasitic mode of nutrition and insectivorous. Mostly plants and they are autotrophs, but there are some plants which use heterotrophic mode of nutrition. उनमें से एक होते हैं parasitic plants. Parasitic plants जो होते हैं they live on a host. वो एक host के ऊपर रहते हैं और host के जो valuable nutrients हैं उनको अपने लिए utilize करते हैं. So वो क्या करते हैं, host को एक तरह से नुकसान पहुंचाते हैं उनके nutrients को अपने लिए यूज करके. So they are harmful for the host. For example, कसकटा एमरबेल जिसको हम बोलते हैं, वो क्या होती है, एक पेड़ के ऊपर चढ़ के उस पेड़ के सारे न्यूट्रिएंट्स हैं वो अपने लिए यूटिलाइज करती है, तो धीरे धीरे जिस होस्ट प्लांट पे कसकटा होता है दैट बिकम्स वीक बिकॉज ऑफ द डेफिशिएंसी ऑफ न्यूट्रिएंट्स। सो जिस प्लांट पे पैरासाइट रहता है या जिस प्लांट से पैरासाइट अपना न्यूट्रिएंट्स लेता है उसको, उस प्लांट को क्या बोलते हैं? होस्ट। द प्लांट ऑन विच पैरासाइट लिव इज कॉल्ड होस्ट। अनदर प्लांट जिसमें हेट्रोट्रॉपिक मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन होता है दैट इज इंसेक्टिवोरस प्लांट्स। कुछ प्लांट्स होते हैं दे ईट इंसेक्ट्स। इंसेक्टिवोरस प्लांट्स में क्या है? दे हैव ए जग लाइक स्ट्रक्चर विच इज कॉल्ड पिचर, which is called pitcher. This has a covering which is called lid. This pitcher includes, there are some hair-like projections which are directed inside. Once insects comes here, it will entangled into these hairs and that will taken inside the pitcher. एक बार इन hairs में अगर कोई insect आके फंस जाता है then it will not go out, it will go downwards. So they are directed downwards, and when insect comes here it will stick to these hairs and this lid will be closed by the pitcher. So they get the insect captured inside the pitcher and there are some digestive enzymes present inside the pitcher, they digest the pitcher. Now this plant has both autotrophic as well as heterotrophic mode of nutrition. This pitcher also modified leaf and other leaves which also carry out photosynthesis. तो इस प्लांट में क्या होता है? फोटोसिंथेसिस भी होता है, इसके साथ साथ ये इंसेक्ट्स को भी डाइजेस्ट करता है। सो दोनों तरह का मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन होता है, इनको बोलते हैं पिचर प्लांट। दिस प्लांट इज कॉल्ड पिचर प्लांट। सो दिस इज ऑल्सो वन काइंड ऑफ मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन इन प्लांट्स। Some organisms get their nutrients from dead and decaying matter. For example, fungi. They get their nutrients from dead and decaying matter. These organisms are called saprotrophs, and this kind of mode of nutrition is known as saprotrophic mode of nutrition. The organisms which obtain their food from dead and decaying matter are called saprotrophs, and the mode of nutrition is called saprotrophic mode of nutrition. For example, fungi. Fungi get their food from dead and decaying matter. How they get the food? They secrete some juices on the dead and decaying matter and they absorb the nutrients from the dead and decayed matter. Now next one, symbiotic relationship. What is symbiotic relationship? Some organisms live together and share their shelter and nutrients. One of them provides shelter and other one provides nutrients. So they live together and help each other. So this kind of relationship is known as symbiotic relationship. For example, some plants and in their roots, plants and some fungi, they live together. Plants provide shelter and fungi provides nutrients to the plants. So they fulfill the requirements of each other. Plants and fungi. Plants provide shelter to fungi to live and fungi provide nutrients, some nutrients to plants. So they help each other. Such type of relationship between two organisms is known as symbiotic relationship. The other example is lichen, in which an alga एंड फंगस, ये दोनों सिम्बायोटिक रिलेशनशिप में होते हैं। एल्गा क्या करता है? क्लोरोफिल होता है एल्गा में, सो इट प्रिपेयर फूड बाय द फोटोसिंथेसिस. सो इट प्रोवाइड्स फूड टू द फंगस एंड फंगस इट प्रोवाइड्स शेल्टर, मिनरल्स and other nutrients and water. So both of them help each other. So the combination, this relationship, symbiotic relationship between alga and fungus is that forms an organism that is known as lichen. So here both organisms help each other and they live together.